Terrestrial biomass sinking and sequestration in the deep ocean is where things like dead trees are sunk to the bottom of the ocean to trap the carbon they contain. Similar to how shipwrecks at the bottom of the ocean are perfectly preserved due to the very low oxygen content at depth, this method acts as a carbon sink to prevent carbon from entering the ocean or atmosphere. This process is directly related to the oxygen cycle and its distribution in the ocean, where oxygen concentration peaks at the surface and reaches a minimum on the floor. Oxygen minimum zones are an excellent place to engage in terrestrial biomass sequestration because items like tree pulp would be perfectly preserved at depth. Oxygen minimum zones are characterized by high remineralization rates and low oxygen supply from ocean circulation. This can result in some of these areas becoming anoxic, meaning they have zero oxygen concentration. Oxygen minimum zones are located around India, the southern region of Alaska, and the eastern coasts of Africa and Central and South America. Areas like the Aleutian, Peru, Chile, and Central American trenches would make great candidates for deep ocean carbon sequestration because they are located in oxygen minimum zones and at such depth that carbon will be completely trapped for centuries there. The Black Sea is currently one of the top carbon burial sites in the world for this reason. Not only is it over 7,000 feet in depth, but it has an extremely salty floor in comparison to its surface, which creates highly stratified layers that barely mix. This leads to wood being perfectly preserved for tens of thousands of years once it reaches the bottom. One pro of this process compared to the similar process of growing and sinking massive amounts of phytoplankton and seaweed in the ocean is that since all of the biomass is grown on land, it poses no threat of disturbing the nutrient balance and ecology in the global ocean. Another pro of this is that it can be accomplished with tugboats and barges, which emit much less greenhouse gas than land transportation like trucks. One con of this approach is that it doesn't ultimately sequester a ton of carbon in the long run. We will need to sequester around 10 billion tons of CO2 per year by the middle of this century in order to limit global warming to 2 degrees Celsius. And this approach would only sequester a few tens of billions of tons of CO2 overall if done at a large scale. In short, terrestrial biomass sinking and sequestration in the deep ocean is just one tool in the toolbox for combating climate change, rather than a magic bullet for it.